and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
And I'm Harry, and today we have the all-new 5th generation Hyundai Santa Fe.
That's right, it is the 5th generation Santa Fe and it merges outdoor adventure with everyday life. Come, let's take a look at this. Now, to say the Santa Fe is important for Hyundai is basically an understatement of epic proportions. I mean, in New Zealand alone, they've sold 26,000 units of it since it was first launched in the year 2000. We're now in the 5th generation, and boy, they've made some changes. They haven't rested on their laurels at all. They've enhanced it both inside and out. New Zealand are bringing in 3 variants to start off with. We have the Elite, the Limited, and this one, the Calligraphy. And this one does come with absolutely everything you can think of. Looking around the front here, what we've got is headlights that have got, or DRLs that have got H's on them. And you can see H's all the way around, actually, when you start looking. The grille itself is very ingrained into the front here, and with the Calligraphy, everything's very very understated as or modern and posh, and I don't know, it's got a great look about it. These vents here open and close, so it will heat and cool the engine or the power system behind, but it's all very smart and very chic and very upright. Now, not only has it got a more boxier shape, but it's also grown in its proportions as well. So it's 45 mils longer and also 50 mils taller. So not great for somebody my height for putting stuff on the roof, but I'll get to that in a second. Also, it comes in 10 different color creations or color themes. So this one we have here is called Abyss Black Pearl, which is great for pirates, but I don't know, I'm just steering into the abyss when I'm looking like this. Wheels themselves 20 inches. There's also a 21-inch option, and look at this, some really nice, these are color coded as far as the wheel arches go. The accents here, they're very, again, subtle with your Santa Fe in here, color coded door mirrors. And one of the best things, I love this right now, is look at this. It's got this little grab handle here on the C-pillar. So for those that want to put stuff on the roof, you can go up like this and go like that. And this will take up to 100 kilograms of weight up here. Also, two sunroofs or bi-roofs or whatever you want to call it. But look, so much going on. The doors themselves open really wide to allow plenty of, I don't know, access to those that want to get in and out. So you've got at the moment 7 seats, but there's also a captain's seat area, so you can actually have 6 seats. Ideal. I'm going to see if we can get hold of those, because captains with the pirate stuff could be awesome. Now, the rear itself is actually getting a lot of chat in amongst people that have seen it and are talking about it because it's so substantial, but that's one of its charms, and it's something that they're really playing on, just how easy it is and how much room you get for, oh well, I'll show you that in a second. But before we get to that, what we have is a roofline spoiler here, and under here is a hidden wiper blade, so you don't actually get to see anything, it just pops down. The badging again is Hyundai, as they've blacked it out for this Calligraphy, and also Santa Fe again is hidden very, very discreetly, and also a hybrid badge, but I'll get to that in a second. The tail lights are again in a H, so like I said, there's H everywhere. And also when you do go inside, look at that, massive amounts of room, 627 or 628 litres of space with all these seats up, and just look at that, massive. And actually loads of, it's low enough to put your stuff in and little things to hide things around. Anyway, substantial tailgate and a very unsubstantial engine. So let's go there. Now, for those of you that are used to the V6 that's in the Santa Fe, you're going to be finding this 1.6 litre turbo quite unsubstantial, like I said, but it also has a small battery and also an electrical motor, and all mated to a 6-speed auto. So like I said, there is actually a lot going on under here. Combined, it gives you 172 kilowatts of power and 367 newton meters of torque, which is actually not to be sniffed at. 0 to 100 is around about 9.2 seconds, but it actually feels quicker because it has that sort of electrical input. And when it comes to efficiency, 6.2 litres per 100 kilometres, and as far as emissions go, 142 grams or something along those lines. So it is actually pretty good and actually does propel this vehicle pretty well. Anyway, we've got Harry inside. He'll show you what's going on in there.
And inside the Santa Fe, you can pretty much see the same sort of makeover that was given to the outside, because boy, has it changed. The added dimensions also translate here to the interior, so it is definitely a larger space, and I really like what they have done here with the design. They, for starters, they have done the same thing that the group has been doing with other cars, where they moved the gear selector to be a stock here on the right side, which then allows for a lot more space for you to use as both storage and things for you to interact in the center console. But wherever you look, you can see the new materials and the new sort of design language that the Koreans have been using throughout in here. So this translates into a really good use of materials with the stitching on the very upper part of the dashboard, then the different sort of plastics and metals going down. For the center console, what they have done in here is that they stuck with the physical controls for the majority of the commands, which is always a positive. So you get now a strip that is dedicated for everything climate, including your dual zone climate, heated steering wheel, and all the goodies in there for the colder weather. But also everything about the media now has its dedicated portion in here, even though there is a little bit of redundancy on the screen that we will cover in a bit. But then probably the biggest change is here on the actual middle portion of the center console, where you have now two big pads for you to wireless charge two devices at the same time, and also a big cubby down below where you can even put a handbag if you so desire. Just a little bit back there, you have two massive cup holders that would take even a water bottle, I'm sure. And then this center storage part in here, which very interestingly swings both ways. So you can even open this side here if you are sitting on the back part of the car. Something else that is also really interesting in here is that, probably as a little bit of a tail end of COVID sort of thing, they introduced this UVC light that if you press this button, it'll start sending UV light to this part here, which is a secondary glove box of sorts. So I don't know, if maybe you're a dentist and you want to get your utensils ready for work by the time you get to your clinic, I don't know, maybe you can get that done somehow. In terms of the actual interaction with the other parts of the car, Hyundai has always been doing a great work with this, and this here is no exception. They have now made the whole interface much more well integrated with the dashboard, and it all starts with the screen here in the middle, so I think it's just the first one that we would start covering. And looking at this straight view of the whole dashboard in here, you could be forgiven to think that this is actually a different SUV from a brand that's very famous for their luxury SUVs, but no, you're still inside of the Santa Fe, which just shows how much of an improvement this is over the last generation. And I'll start with the screen here in the middle, which is very clear that they tried to make the interaction as simple as can be. All the things about climate are still in this screen that we just covered in here, meaning that what you have upwards is then focused on your driving information and infotainment. And they are both the things that you are seeing in here, where you have the inbuilt satellite navigation, but of course you'll also have the ability to use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and then everything to do with your media. If you go into the hybrid settings, then you get an instantaneous view of how you are doing with both the fuel but also the electric motor use, and how your battery is doing, and then the engine will kick in to show how you are making use of the information in there. If you go back to the home through here, or either using the buttons that you have here down below, you can then flick through the other options, but you will see that it is actually quite simple to get around. There's not a lot of menus for you to get lost in and have to use even the online manual to go through the rest of the information. One thing that's also becoming more and more common in these cars is that by flicking from the top, you then get access to the majority of the quick to use settings that you might need, such as turning off the display or changing the brightness in case that it is too bright. And then about the other screen, the one that you have here in front of the driver, it is also a little bit more on the simpler side, but not because it doesn't have the information that you need. It's quite the opposite, but also because it is very easy to get around and understand what you want to see. By using this menu button in here, you will flick through the options that include a compass, your driving assistance package, and the drive information, where you can flick through trip and temperatures, tire pressures, and all of that. And that's pretty much it. You will then use the other two dials to understand your speed, your range, and how your engine is doing, either driving eco-friendly or if you're using a little bit more power. And then you can use the menus that you have here down below to then change a little bit more about how that information is presented to you. So if I were, for example, to go down to the cluster themes, I would be able to, if I can get to that, change through a few different styles. But as you can see, they mostly change how the information is presented. They don't change actually how the layout is put in front of you, not only for this here, but also for the heads-up display that we have in front of us. As for the steering wheel, it is really, really good to interact with. The touch textures are really, really nice. You also get that H pattern in the Morse code that has now become a little bit of a gimmick, very interesting with the Hyundai cars. And then on your left side, it's mostly dedicated to your driving assistance packages, which will include adaptive cruise and your speed limiting. And then on the right side, you get everything to do with media, including a favorite button that you can map to other functions in the car. Just behind them, you get these two paddle shifters in here. And the super interesting thing about them that we will explore a little bit more on the drive is that they have a dual purpose depending on what driving mode you are using them in. So speaking of driving, I think it's about time that we take the Santa Fe for a little drive on the road.
So anyway, the new Santa Fe Calligraphy, as we are in right now, what an improvement. Now I know for many the actual boxiness of it or the styling is going to be quite polarizing, particularly on the rear, but to be honest, once you get in, see it in the flesh and jump inside it and drive it, all of that goes out the window. It is so much better than it was before.
There is no comparison. It was a massive step forward compared to what we had in the older generation, which the two of us reviewed not too long ago. So it's really awesome to jump from one to the other in such a short period of time. And yeah, as you said, probably the biggest contentious point is the styling, but both of us really like the way that it looks. And once you get past that and you actually interact with the car, it's such a step forward.
The other contentious issue is going to be the powertrain, and you know, old school petrol heads as we are, you have to go really why get rid of the V6 or anything of that sort of substantial CCs. But in fairness, this actually handles this big sized vehicle really well. The off the line speed is not massive, I totally get that, but it doesn't have to be. This is a family favorite vehicle that is going to take 6 to 7 people on a long journey and on adventures, as they say, and just it's all right. It picks up nicely.
It really does. Of course, you get a little bit of that 4-cylinder sound coming into the cabin rather than the 6 that you would get in years past. But on the counterpoint is that you look at your dashboard and you still get 856 kilometers of range left.
It's crazy.
Yeah, when you add the efficiency of the hybrid powertrain, and let's be honest, this is going to face day-to-day, bumper-to-bumper traffic most of the time anyway. So you're reaping more of the benefit of that efficiency more so than the V6, unless you're towing.
Yeah, towing capacity is slightly down. I think it's a 1.2 tons, something like that. So it is slightly down from before. Again, some people are going to find that an issue, but then they've still got the Palisade, and there is going to be a bigger engine coming as well. So it will give you a little bit different from there. But if you're after efficiency, I mean, this will go down to from Auckland to Wellington and probably almost all the way back as well.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
While providing a lot of comfort, all the tech that you could ask for. And when you are doing just the stop and go in the city, it is so refined, because then you don't get to ask a lot of the 4-cylinder, and it handles the majority of the stop and go traffic so gracefully. It's so quiet, it's so refined.
It switches nicely between the powertrains, and you wouldn't really know what's going on. It's just the NVH they've done. It's so quiet, particularly on when you get onto the highways. And the added bonus on the highways, they've upped their safety and driver assistant aids. So not only does it have adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist and rear cross traffic and blind spots and all that sort of stuff, but you can also now flick the indicators and it will change the lanes for you as well. It is a bit of a gimmick as far as I'm concerned, because I like to change the lanes myself, but it's just one step closer to driving autonomy.
That's right. Yeah, I'm sure that we will get to a point where I can just be sitting here on the passenger seat while the car does everything for me. And to be honest, I think that Hyundai got it really, really right with these passenger seats in here, because they do this thing where they recline to a level that is super, super comfortable. They have thigh extensions that make it even more so comfortable for when you're leaning backwards, and the materials are so good.
Yeah, this will be a Napa leather, and also the materials all around. Even the Alcantara at the top here is really nice, and the tech, as we've gone through, it's even got a Bose stereo that's powerful and, you know, blasts out my 80s tunes at no worries whatsoever. Then there's the handling. It does grip the road really nicely because it is an all-wheel drive as well. So the H-track is really nice. Another H, of course, but it grips, and it does have different drive modes. You can go through different trade modes. So you've got everything from snow, mud, or sand. So if you are going on your adventures, you can, you know, just put your wellies on and go for anything like that as well.
And then with the added dimensions, since this new generation has grown quite a bit, a lot of this new space is now found on the second and third rows as well. And one thing that became very apparent as we were setting up the car for filming is just how much easier it is to get in and out of the rear of the second row, and because of the big wide openings and how much you can slide the seats frontwards and backwards, and also how easy it is to both bring the seats forward to access the third row, but also to just collapse them so that you get a very flat floor to put all the stuff inside of that big opening for the trunk. So again, as I said, this is very likely to be a car that will face a lot of family work, and having an easy access to the back doors and to the trunk is always a bonus.
Yeah, I reckon I could sleep back there. Actually, even you could probably sleep back there. It's quite loud. The other thing is switch it into sport mode, and the paddles become gear changing. So you can go up and down your gears using the paddles, or you can change them to brake regen when you're in eco or my drive or normal, actually. So it's just very, very smart. I think it's just clever the way it can switch between, or you know, your paddles, you can use them for what you want them to use them for.
That's exactly right. It's such a given, right, that brands would sort of have this light bulb moment and realize what customers will be expecting the pedals to do at each different drive mode, and the implementation is spot on.
So there you have it, the new 5th generation 2024 or 2025 Santa Fe, Hyundai Santa Fe. What an improvement. Literally 5 generations or 4 generations to play with or to enhance it, and they really have gone bigger and better with each one. I mean, 26,000 sales. I mean, there's lots out there. they really haven't rested on their laurels. It is a different, I mean, you wouldn't, if you put them side by side, the generations, you go, that can't be from the same manufacturer, but it is, and they've just enhanced it and developed it from there. Inside and out, this is a much better vehicle. I'm really happy.
Yeah, no question about that. For each generation, they start with a totally clean slate, a totally new platform, new powertrains, new ideas inside and out, and it really pays off. It's something that is not held back by their legacy, so it manages to raise the bar every time that it is released. I'm super impressed, and I really like the Santa Fe.
Yep, there you have it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.